Hi, I'm Courtney, the host of This Is Fine, Right? This podcast exists for the moment when you catch yourself asking that question, is this actually fine? If you're here, something in you already knows there's more to look at. And this is your permission to investigate it in your body, your emotions, your patterns, and the way you're living your life. We talk about chemistry, signals in the body, lived experience, motherhood, and how all of these parts connect, not from a place of fixing yourself, but from understanding yourself. This isn't about you becoming the best version of you. Let's be honest. You're here because your body and mind already led you here. You don't need to be reinvented. You need clarity, direction, and encouragement as you stay in the driver's seat of your own health. I'm not your average gal pal. I get real, a little sciencey, and I'll help you learn how to work with your body instead of against it. So let's get into it. Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about sugar and cravings. The reason why I decided on this topic was because on Instagram I had posted a poll asking what kind of foods seem to give you the most problems, which leads to, digestion issues or just in general feeling not so great after you eat them. And sugar was the number one thing. So I wanted to talk about why that is and why you may be craving something like that and why you might not be feeling so great after you eat it. So going just to basics, your body is always going to want a stable source of energy and getting that from a fuel source. Your body runs on glucose and fat as a source of energy to fuel the body. If you are somebody that is falling into these cravings, it's an indicator that your body is not getting enough fuel resource. And sugar is actually the fastest way to get that. Now, the problem with that is that when you eat sugar, what it does is it spikes your glucose, and then it helps your insulin put glucose into your cells. But what can happen is that your body is now thinking, cool, I just got this great source of energy. I got this spike. I'm ready to go. And then it plummets. So just as quickly as the glucose and the sugar can go into your body, that's how quickly it can also go out of it. And that's where you feel those crashes. And now you feel like, oh crap, I don't have any energy. I'm fatigued. I'm irritable. I have anxiety. Whatever those symptoms look like for you. And you're like, okay, I got to go carb and I got to sugar some more to make myself feel better. And that becomes your pattern. You become somebody who's low in fuel. Your blood pressure is low. You need something fast. You've maybe skipped too many meals. And so you're going to go for the easiest source, which is the carb and the sugar. It's going to spike your insulin, make you think, I'm really good. I'm good for a minute. And then it's going to plummet. When it plummets, after you've had your spike and now everything is plummeted, your body senses that as danger. And usually the danger is because you're not getting a steady source of fuel or energy. So how this happens, one of the reasons can be having low blood pressure. And this can happen from, fasting in between meals or not pulling enough resources from your food, or you're electrolyte deficient, or you're maybe there's not enough salts in your food that's going to help you pull those minerals out. So that can be something that is going to make you struggle with getting a decent fuel resource. And so you want to go for the quickest thing. Another reason can be your digestion is a little off. You need two things in your body. Your body needs to be producing acid and bile in order to break down your food. And if one of those things are off, you're obviously not going to be getting all of your resources from your food. Now, your bile is the thing in your body that basically emulsifies and breaks down fats really well. So if you're somebody that is maybe low in the bile part of your digestion, then you're going to have a hard time pulling fuel from fats, which, like I was saying, is the other source of energy that your body can get it from. It can get it from fats. But if you're not breaking it down, then you're probably going to be somebody that's leaning into that sugar, those glucose, and those carb type meals because it's too hard for you to get it in another way. I had mentioned an electrolyte type imbalance and what that can look like. How do you know? When I was really struggling with this, actually one of the number one things that indicated it to me is when I would be going from a sitting to a standing situation and getting like dizzy. So that can be an indicator that you're struggling with the electrolytes. Okay, one of the other reasons I had mentioned is if you're electrolyte deficient. And how do you know if you are somebody that is in that category? Actually, one of the biggest indicators for me, this used to happen to me all the time, is if you're going from like a sitting to a standing position and you find yourself like a little bit dizzy, that could be an indicator. Or where you're kind of like wired and buzzy, but you're also like tired at the same time. Or if you're craving something like sugar and salt together. Basically, this is just more of like a hydration issue where your body needs sodium and potassium to be flowing in order for you to actually be retaining hydration and again pulling all those minerals from your food. And if you're not doing that, boom, you're going to go to something that's easy: carbs, insulin, glucose, all that stuff. And then there's just overall long-term depletion. And some of us might not know that is something that we're struggling with, but if you have been dieting or under eating for years, or you're just like chronically mineral deficient, it can be really hard to just change a couple things and all of a sudden you're doing great. You could even be giving yourself a lot of minerals, and sometimes if you've been depleted for so long, you actually just end up peeing out those minerals. So even though you're trying to do the right thing, your physiology might be a little messed up where you actually do need carbs in order to function. And you're wanting to go for the easy carbs, which, like pasta, grains, just processed sugar in general to get that energy. But it is necessary to have the carbs, but there are other carbs you could have, like medium type carbs, which are like sweet potatoes or squash. That could be another way to fuel the body instead of spiking it with the sugar and glucose and all of that stuff. That's not making you feel good at all. So a lot of times I hear, I need to cut the sugar because I'm gaining weight. I need to cut the sugar. I'm gaining weight. Yes and no. Yes, sometimes sugar can be one of the leading causes as to why you're gaining weight, and I'll explain that. But another reason could be your physiology is off and your digestion is off, and it doesn't really even matter what you do. It's just too hard for you to lose the weight or gain the weight because your body is just not processing things the way it's supposed to. But going back to, if the sugar is causing you to gain weight, this is how it works. Insulin thinks, oh great, I don't need to make any energy anymore. I'm cool over here. And it stops using fat as your source of energy. So now you're not using your fat. And so you got to get energy somewhere. So you're just going to keep eating these carbs and these sugars. And in the meantime, your fat is just being stored over and over and over again. And that's why it's so hard to lose it. And this is when you start feeling those kinds of things where you're like inflamed and puffy and just feeling kind of you might be a little constipated. Those are all indicators of your body is really not using your fat source in the way it should be. And this isn't necessarily like saying, oh, I can never eat sugar ever. No, this is more so happening because of the spikes and the instability that's happening, that your insulin is like, I need to hang out over here, and your fat is like, I need to stay over here because this is so unstable. I need to do all that I can to be able to have something in case something goes awry, and this just keeps dissipating and I don't know where to get my energy from. So I got to hold on to everything. So this is a very messy cycle, but does it kind of make sense? Like, if you are somebody who finds yourself craving sugar, where you're having this huge spike of energy and now you're crashing and you're super fatigued and all you want to do is take a nap, but if you eat some more cookies, you feel great again, and then it's just this never-ending cycle. So what can you do about this? Like I had said in the beginning, the body likes to run off sugar and fat. So if you are craving a lot of sugars and carbs, then it probably needs more fat. So you want to focus on fats and proteins as much as you can. If you feel like cutting carbs is still causing those kinds of spikes, you could just be somebody who's really depleted, and you do need carbs and you do need that glucose to help balance you out, and that's okay. You just don't want to go for the majorly processed type carbs, the bread, the pasta, because it's just not making you feel good. So go for the more so medium carbs type stuff, like I was saying, like a sweet potato, squash. And I'm actually going to go ahead and link a medium carb list, just something you can reference quickly. If you are somebody where I'm craving this all the time, more than likely you are somebody that, yes, like I said, you have to have more fats and more proteins, but you do probably need some carbs. So I have some suggestions on what you can do to kind of help you get through trying to balance your body, but also not run into those cravings and those crashings. So a good thing to do is, if you're staying on the carbs for a bit while you're transitioning, is to have them in the morning and at lunchtime, and try to stop eating them after 3. Because like I was saying, when you eat a lot of sugars and you eat a lot of carbs, and it spikes your glucose and it makes your insulin go up, if you stop eating after 3, your glucose will level out, but your insulin, it takes a lot longer to balance out. So if you stop eating after 3, you have the rest of the night and even while you're asleep to teach your body to use fat for the rest of the day for that energy. And it'll even burn it when you're sleeping if you figure this out and do it in the right way. So that's something I suggest. Also, things that can help you with your minerals, to make sure if you're having enough minerals and you're having enough resources going into your body from what you're eating, then you're going to have less cravings. So a really simple thing you can do is blackstrap molasses. You can use like a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon about 3 times daily. And you can add it to anything. I personally don't mind the taste. I think it's kind of good. And usually blackstrap molasses has quite a bit of potassium. So potassium actually helps minerals and all the good stuff go into your cells. It's kind of like a catalyst, and it like throws it into your cells. So this is a really good one that you could just implement very easy. And also, I will say, if you're somebody that has low blood pressure, salt is a really good thing too, and not just like any salt, like a sea salt. I can link that in the show notes for you too. And you could just add it a little bit at a time, and really pay attention to how you feel. You can add it to your food. You can put it in your water. It's a really, really simple resource, but I feel like it actually does quite a bit. And listen, this didn't just show up, okay? I've been this person for a long time, and when I started learning how my body was functioning, really paying attention and learning how to do my simple at home tests, I started to really understand why my body was wanting these sugars and carbs all the time. I was electrolyte deficient. I wasn't creating enough bile in my body to be able to break down my fat, so I could start using that instead for fuel. But the other thing in general, here in America, our food is struggling. The thing is it's not necessarily the soil that's bad. It's more so how it's farm to table. There's a lot of fertilizers being used in our soil and on our crops. And in order for minerals to get actually into our food, there has to be bacteria in the soil. So when they're overly fertilizing it with these chemicals, it's killing off the bacteria. So our foods aren't being very much enriched with minerals. And the other thing is that the way that back in the day, they used to sell products based off weight because minerals are dense and they're heavy. So if the product was weighty, you knew you were getting something out of it. But now they do it based off of like what it looks like. They do it based off of bushels and size. And I don't know about you, if you ever traveled outside of the country, but on my honeymoon, we went to Italy. And the food over there tastes like food. Like a tomato it actually has flavor. You could eat it like an apple. Here, it tastes like nothing. I mean, go organic if you can. But even with that, it's difficult to get everything you need. And that's why people are supplementing with everything. They need to. The only problem is that if you aren't sure of the root problem and why you're struggling, you could be supplementing with something that's not even actually helping you. So it's not just like your fault and you're a bad person, but I mean, it's hard to get some serious nutritional value on this planet right now, especially as an American. So don't go hard on yourself. Don't put yourself down. Just now you kind of have an understanding as to how the body works and why this might be happening. And it's not just you and out of the blue. And there can be some things that you can do to combat it. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that all you guys out there with the cravings understand that there's reason to it. You're not alone. And yeah, visit the show notes and look at the things that I had mentioned that could be really helpful for you. So sugar isn't evil. It's actually telling you that you need it because it loves you. Your body needs some sort of stability. It needs some sort of fuel, and it's asking you to give it to them. And it's asking you to give it that fuel. So sugar is the quickest resource, and that's what it's going for. So when you're feeling this craving, think about it a little bit before you reach for the cookie. I'm not saying don't have cookies though, because I really like cookies. It's just about creating less chaos, stabilizing a little bit more, and having real control over when you're feeling those feelings, and you can actually make a choice instead of being in survival mode and just doing whatever you can to get through the day. And if you want to go a little deeper and finding out exactly how your body is actually functioning, how it actually is processing these things, this is the work that I do. I'm here to help. In the meantime, happy living.
If something in today's episode resonated, you're always welcome to stay close. I write weekly letters and offer one-on-one support for people who want to understand their body more deeply, so they can keep listening, keep responding, and keep moving forward with clarity. My work is about helping you become your own healer in a way that's grounded in real life. All the links are below, and I'll see you next time.